Everyone agreed. The plan was clear, the conversation happened, next steps were outlined, and in that moment, it felt like everything was moving forward exactly as planned. But then a piece of follow up didn't happen, a timeline slipped, something along the way got missed. And now you find yourself, or your team finds itself, circling back on something that was already decided and that everyone thought was already handled. As usual, it's not because people didn't care, it's not that people weren't capable, it's because whatever was agreed upon never actually happened. It was never taken across the finish line. Welcome to Trust Leaks. I'm Sandra Martini, and this podcast is about the invisible breakdowns inside your business that quietly erode trust. Trust both with your clients and inside your team. And if you're a solopreneur, I've found it also erodes trust with yourself. And it really can feed into that imposter syndrome that so many solopreneurs and founders have. In our last episode, we talked about process leaks, when the system looks like it's working, but it's not quite producing the right outcome. Today, we're going to move deeper into execution, because even when the process is clear, things can still fall apart in the follow through. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. A follow through leak, it's not about a lack of intention. It's when something was discussed, it was agreed to, whether it was agreed to internally with your team or outside with a client, we have agreement, and yet it actually wasn't completed, or it wasn't completed the way it needed to be. And over time, those small misses start to stack. See, one of the most common assumptions in business is that if we talked about it, it's handled. However, agreement does not equate to execution, and it certainly does not equate to correct, proper, over the finish line, exactly what both sides wanted execution. As anyone with children knows, a clear conversation does not automatically guarantee a completed action, and certainly not a completed action in the eyes of both sides. See, most people think that trust is built in the big moments, the big sale, the big contract, the big deliverable. In reality, however, it's built in the follow-up email, the promised update, and the thing that gets done when you or your team said it would get done. Trust is built or broken in what happens after the conversation. A missed detail here, a delayed response there. Individually, they don't seem like a big deal. Collectively, however, they change how people experience working with you and how much they trust what will happen next. So if you're missing contract renewals, if people aren't referring, it may not be because the work quality was insufficient. It may be the sum of all of these small trust leaks, these gaps that were formed that over time just stacked and stacked and stacked upon each other. And then when it comes time to refer or renew, someone's thinking, no, I may not know exactly why, but no, this isn't someone that I want to attach my name to or that I want to continue funding. Let me give you an example. You're wrapping up a client call and you outline the next steps. And then you tell the client, I'll take care of that. I'll send it over later today. And then your day gets busy. Something else, some fire is burning and something else takes priority. And it goes out the next morning instead. From the client's perspective, something didn't happen that was supposed to happen. And while you're thinking, not a big deal, it went out 12 hours later than I said it would. But there's a small gap that's been created in the client's mind. And these gaps stack over time, and they quietly erode the trust that you may have completely and beautifully built. A follow through leak may be present if things are discussed, but they're not documented. Tasks fall through the cracks between meetings. Deadlines are flexible or they're unclear. People assume that someone else is handling it. And then you hear a famous phrase, oh, I thought that was already done. Or, oh, I thought Joe was handling that. So instead of asking, did we talk about it? Start asking, was it actually completed on time and as expected? If you do nothing else, at the end of every conversation, clarify three things. One, what exactly is being done? Two, who is responsible? And three, when will it be completed? And then, and this is the most important piece, make it visible. In our team, we use Asana. You can use whatever system works for you, but make it visible because when it's not documented, it rarely is executed consistently and on time and to everyone's expectation of what done looks like. When follow through breaks, clients start to question your business or your reliability. Teams start to lose confidence, and you start spending time chasing things that should have already been handled and shouldn't even be a question. Follow through is where reliability becomes real. As mentioned earlier, follow through leaks, they don't show up all at once. They show up in the small amounts, those things that were said but not done, things that were planned yet not completed. And over time, those moments will start to define the client or the team's experience because people don't remember what you said you would do. They remember what actually happened from their perspective of things. Are you wondering if you've got trust leaks in your business? Take our free diagnostic at trustleaks, Leaks, trustleaks.com, or scan the QR code on your screen. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, and subscribe. It helps others discover the show, and we greatly appreciate it. In our next episode, we'll be talking about experience leaks, when everything looks fine to you, yet the client experience tells a completely different story. Until then, make it a great week.